All right, we're here with Sheehan Stanwick, voice of BTN, voice of ESPN, women's lacrosse, men's lacrosse. You do it all. All right, I watched you. Maryland was on BTN a lot this year, and I thought it was artful how you tried to make the games exciting when a lot of them weren't. Is that something you practice with Mark Dixon?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you have a Maryland game, you never know what the score is going to be. And even though the coach, Kathy Reese, and her staff will say that, you know, they don't overlook anybody, and they don't, you're just hoping for a close game. But there was a couple of teams that kind of hung tight with them, but ultimately Maryland was a step ahead above everybody this year.
Last time I saw you, you were on stage with Joe B. at the Towson Awards. Maryland sweeps the awards. They win the national championship. What was your impression from the stage of how that event played out?
I mean, it was such an awesome night for Maryland and the staff, and just Matt Rambo and Zoe Stukenberg just walking away with the trophies. I just think moments that they will remember for the rest of their life, and just such talented teams. You know, just not new for the Maryland women's team to win it, but for the Maryland's program to bring it back after all these years, it's a very exciting night.
TerpTalk is brought to you by Viener Consulting.
You know, I was telling Booker that you'll feel this tomorrow night. There'll be a lot of Maryland people here. Not so much, they don't even know who the kids are except Bubba Fairman, but it's a whole new excitement around here.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel it because I'm associated with it. And in Baltimore especially, that's the subject right now is Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, it was so great that they won the championship. They've always been top-notch in lacrosse and seem to get, you know, year to year, one of the top recruiting classes, if not the top. But they just seem to restack and reload. Doesn't matter who they graduate, they're able to just that program. And I think the confidence that's instilled in that program is able to get those younger players just to step in those high prospect roles.
I don't know if you remember, but my daughter played with one of your siblings. She was Carly. She was a goalie at Stanford, and she played with Coco. Coco was great. She was, in fact, one of the smartest lacrosse players, man or female, that I ever met. As far as she would, like before the game, tell Carly where the shots were going to come. She knew the players that well. What's she doing now?
She is just moved back to D.C. She was in the Baltimore area, just moved to the D.C. area, closer to where she and her husband work, and she's got 2 kids. Still a fan of the game, but not playing anymore.
And how about all the other Stanwicks? Do we know we still got Shaq at Johns Hopkins?
Yes, he's still there. Steele is women's offensive coordinator at Johns Hopkins, so close by and loving. He's recruiting here today and looking for some future candidates. Tad is in the Navy. Wells is working up in Boston. Covey is coaching some of the club teams out in Dallas, but also in some real estate. And yeah, we're just having fun. Sister Wick is coaching her little son's team and has 5 kids of her own.
You probably started small and then grew and grew and grew some more. And now you and your team need all of this technology to work together for you to be successful. Viener and Four Gates helps you make sense of it all by taking your chaos and turning it into clarity. For your now, your future, and your always, choose Viener Four Gates.
So.
Look out for Johns Hopkins women's lacrosse.
Yeah.
I really feel that. First of all, they got utterly robbed against Northwestern. Single-handedly the worst call I've ever seen in sports. Right?
Yeah,
That's at the goal.
2/10 of his, yeah. The clock was on 0, and the ball hadn't left her stick yet.
Right.
But, you know, that's sports.
So you're talking a lot about recruiting. You had a chance to meet some of what's coming on the field for Maryland. Katie May, Brooke Robbins, Grace Griffin. As a group, without naming anybody specific, is this as good a group as we've seen out here?
Yes, I mean, Maryland, just the amount of people that they're able to get year after year, and I think they're just the cachet of playing for the Terps, playing for Kathy Reese and her staff, the love of the sport that the team generally has. They get some of the best of the best. They get a great local talent that feeds into that, and then the national players across the country that want to come and compete. But even though they graduated some top players, they're going to be just as strong next year.
So I noticed that Bubba Fairman, as Bruce called him, an alpha male. I mean, you could tell this is the guy. Is that the impression that you picked up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be an exciting night tomorrow night for both the men's and women's teams, girls and boys teams, and the coaches. When you talk to them, they'll say, like, this isn't really about, we want to win. We're all competitive out here, but this is really showcasing the talents of these athletes and what they've been able to do.
All right, we're gonna get you in our 5 questions.
And to do that, I'm actually going to hand you the mic. I'm going to step aside.
Great.
All right. No, she has no prep, but she's Sheehan Stanwick, and she can react. First of all, biggest game, biggest win you've ever been in, and why?
That I played in, or
Yes,
win. I tell you the biggest loss when we lost to Maryland, but that was the biggest state national championship. No, double overtime. We lost it, so not a winning game. Biggest win probably would go back to my high school days locally. Notre Dame Prep beating Roland Park Country School for the championship back then. But
okay, what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you in a game?
in the game, let's see. I don't know. Well, I missed an open goal, bounced it, hit a rock on a field. The goalie was completely out of the goal. I bounced it, which should have been a 100% shot, and it bounced right over top of it.
And you still remember?
I still remember that, yes.
Unbelievable. All right, best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Work hard. Work hard. If you try your hardest, you can have no regrets.
That come from Pop?
Yes.
How's Pop doing?
He's great. He's great.
He was great. I had so much fun on the sidelines with him watching games. If you could change one thing in lacrosse, men's and women's, what would it be? What one rule change would you like to see?
With the women's games, I know there's some recommendations to the NCAA right now, but I really would like to see the midfield fouls limited. Whether it's a number count, but something. I want more of a deterrent, not breaking up the play. They're talking about free movement in the game, which would be more like the men's game, which would be exciting, but the ticky-tacky fouls need to stop. We're almost called more like the men's game. There's checks that get away in the women's game that don't in the men's, which I think should change.
And in the men's game?
A lot of people are calling for a shot clock. To be honest, the timer on doesn't bother me. There's few instances when it causes an issue and maybe not consistent, so I can see why people harp on it and want some consistency. But overall, I think everything's good.
Now the toughest question. What's the first concert you ever went to?
That's good. It might be like Hootie and the Blowfish.
That's it. That's acceptable. They were big in their time. Sheehan Stanwick here all the time on BTN, ESPN. She's great. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Right. Good to see you.
You too.
You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want the good life every good night. You're a hot one to hold.